You see, Strait of Hormuz is an asymmetric symptom of the bigger malaise, which is the basic contention, the basic conflict which Israel is driving and America is now exerting. That is a classic asymmetric tactics that Iranians have adopted. They have a leverage, they have closed it, and that's hurting the US economy as well as the global economy. So that is why Hormuz remains important. But in long term, I believe Iranians would have to scale down their stance because it is not governed by Montreal Convention, for example, in case of Turkish waters, which is a specific arrangement in which Turkey is allowed to levy certain taxes. But in case of Straits of Singapore, Strait of Malacca, the only charges are by way of port handling and right of innocent passage as per Article 17 of UN Convention on Law of Sea. That is conceded to all the sea commerce. And if Iranians they insist on retaining control and levying taxes in the long term, I believe that is a stance that nobody will agree to. But as long as the conflict remains, they have a leverage and they are using it as an asymmetric tactics. And I believe it will remain so till the time a conclusive end to this conflict does not reach. All these efforts are a continuation of the process that started on Feb 28, because Pakistan has its own interest to see that this conflict does not escalate into a major conflagration because of its neighborhood with Iran, because of its energy interest, because of its diaspora in Gulf, which is sending remittances. So these are the concrete interests. And then standing on the right side of international law, uh, following high moral principles, I think Pakistan has sedulously uh, tried to continue this process. And this process bore fruit by way of first round of talks. Efforts were made to have a second round of talks as soon as possible, but that process is still on, despite the contrarian positions of two protagonists in the conflict equation, that is Iran and the United States. Iran has been giving statements recently that the major differences remain. So that's the situation. The social media and other hype does not reflect the actual reality which is behind the scenes and which is being done by the diplomats. But this is a very important role Pakistan is playing, and it will keep on playing till the time uh, breakthrough is not achieved. The real breakthrough by way of a framework agreement which sets the stage for a lasting, sustainable solution to this issue. The major gaps remain on this issue because Americans want that Iran should give away its right of peaceful use of nuclear enrichment, which is allowed to it under non-proliferation treaty. And I think Iran has a point on that score. But Americans think that Iranians cannot be trusted, so they should not enrich even till 0%. And whatever stockpiles they need for Bushehr, those could be provided to them as under existing arrangements by Russia or any other country. Under the and the 440 kg that is also enriched till 60% should be given to IAEA or some other country for safe custody. So these are major gaps, and the earlier leadership that might have been amenable to such a concept has all been eliminated. So this is a new leadership, and there are wheels within the wheels. There are disparate groups of competing interests. There's one group which is a little moderate, and there's another group which is very very hardline. And remember that they have suffered personal losses, so the feeling is visceral also, and they will not concede very easily on something that appears to be a major concession on their sovereignty. So these are gaps are not insuperable, but definitely a very wide gap, which would have to be stitched up after a lot of diplomatic effort. I think any false flag by the spoilers, which are already at work, because it is not in the interest of Israel that this war stops, because they've already opened a new front in Lebanon, and the statements are coming from Lebanese president. Those also attest to the fact that they want a lasting solution, not the 10 kilometers yellow line barrier, which is going to be part of Israel now. So they don't see the way Israelis are seeing things. And that is why now this has become very important, that a solution to this Iranian issue has to be found. If it is not found, then Israel will keep expanding West Bank, southern Lebanon, and Gaza also. So therein lies the whole issue. It is how AIPAC and Netanyahu managed to be reined in by the Trump administration, or the other way around. So that important dialectic will shape the outcome of the future conflict. And of course, if on 21st, no breakthrough is reached, then a new round of attacks might escalate things, and then things could attain their own escalatory dimensions. The vertical escalation might reach to use of a barbaric instrument, and things could very well go out of hands. So that is why it is very important that this truce should be extended, if possible, beyond this window of 10 days. And I think one of the points of American 15 points, which were revealed by Jerusalem Post also and Channel 12 also, that showed that Americans were ready for a 30 days window to stitch up these negotiations, and might be another interlocutor intervenes. Pakistan is making efforts that this window might be extended, so that another round of talks leads to convergence on these very, very difficult issues between Iran and America, especially on use of uranium enrichment, and how Strait of Hormuz is to be governed in future. You see, Pakistan is in touch with both the belligerents, and those efforts have borne fruit in the past. And I believe it is up to those two protagonists in the conflict equation and the spoiler. So this whole equation has to work together for peace. Otherwise, things can very well escalate out of control. United States is still resorting to naval blockade, which is a very, very provocative act as far as Iranians are concerned. And Iranians are also not playing the ball. There are hardliners inside IRGC who still believe they can perhaps resist and launch a long round of asymmetric warfare, in which, according to them, the asymmetry of will favors them. So that is why you see things are very, very difficult for Americans also. It's an election year. They have to uh, go for a quick solution, because if it drags on and no solution is in sight, then there would be difficulties, and the electoral ratings might also be impacted. But I believe there are efforts which are serious efforts, despite this incendiary rhetoric on social media. But I believe Iranians also need to scale down their rhetoric, think pragmatically, think in terms of cost benefit equation of earning the right dividends by way of connecting with the world again, uh, and by getting sanctions lifted, by rebuilding their infrastructure, because that infrastructure is so badly devastated that it would take 12 years to be reconstructed. And their economy has taken a hit to the tune of 270 billion US dollars. So this asymmetric warfare may very well be a long drawn out affair. Whether Iranians, with this kind of naval blockade, sanctions, continue with this asymmetric warfare despite that asymmetry of will, which is in their favor, is a moot point And both belligerents, I think they need to cooperate now uh, in order to find a kind of a acceptable solution that leads to an end to this conflict.